Computer Science. William, tell us about yourself a little bit.
I was interested in computer science. No, actually computers, starting with hardware actually. I got into hardware because I couldn't run a certain game on my computer and I need to know why. And then, basically that is why I started.
How it all started.
Yeah.
So this one game would not run on your computer and you had to figure it out.
Yes.
Did you figure it out?
Yes, my laptop was just too old.
Okay.
Yes, and then after that, I was interested in the mechanics of the games.
Yeah.
And I wanted to know how it works. So I went into literally the game files, and then I tried opening them, and I didn't know what was happening in there at all. I had no clue. I opened it, and then it was gibberish. So.
And you thought,
I want to know how this works.
I have to figure out these alien hieroglyphics.
Yes, that's how I started computer science, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This question is for both of you, William and Chris. What subjects do you think students need to focus on in order to get into computer science or to get a head start before they get to university?
I would say math helps. Because
math helps, yeah.
Math helps a lot. When you're doing coding or making a program, basically, there are certain parts of the code you need to do basic math. So math is quite important.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're making certain programs that for example calculates a trajectory or something, then you also need to have some insight on physics, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically what you want to make is what you need to have insight on.
Okay. Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with William. If you want to pursue computer science, and if you looked into it, you would probably know what you need to study. But if not, you really have to know math. Math is not solely the most important subject to study computer science, but I do think it's still a big part of it. It's a foundation of it. Also, for example, if you want to code a robot, for example, you're engineering a robot, you're coding it, you're also building it, and you want to test it out, then you definitely need to know physics, just like how William said. Then if you do anything with computer science, like chemical engineering or biomedical engineering or something like that, then it may vary with biology, chemistry, or anything else. So,
do you think someone who's not good at math can still go into computer science?
well, it'll be really hard.
Yeah.
It'll be really hard. They can. It really depends on colleges. I know that different colleges have different curriculums, and some colleges, like my college, for example, focus on projects mostly.
Project-based learning.
Project-based learning. There's less of a math into it because it's a lot of collaboration and coding projects. But I know that there's some colleges that focus on algorithms and problem solving, which do require a lot of math. Well, I wouldn't say heavy algebra or just pre-calculus math, but different kinds of math. So if you are good at math, then you'll probably understand the concept better.
What about extracurriculars? What about extra activities, clubs, any extracurriculars? What could be helpful? William?
I'll say if you want to focus on computer science, you can go to websites like EDX and then look up certain courses.
Specific courses.
Yeah, specific courses you want to learn. Learn anything you want there. That helps a lot.
Have you taken some EDX courses?
I've taken 2 or 3, I think, right?
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
High school, I didn't take it, but I did teach elementary school students computer science, Scratch or a bit of Raspberry Pi and Arduino. Because coding, if you actually do coding, it's not very computer science is not a very physical subject. You don't deal with a lot of mechanical engineering part of it. The most easy way to approach it is Arduino, where you code drones, for example, or any bots, and then we taught that to elementary school students so that they can get interested in computer science and pursue computer science in the future. And I think I still keep contact with one of them, and then he said that he's interested in computer science and then he's interested in robots.
Good. The next question is about coding, and so I think many people think they have to be excellent at coding in order to get into computer science. So how important do you think coding is?
I guess there's different views. The answer is yes, coding is very important, but different views on how you have to know everything or that you want to pursue something, that's very different. So you don't know programmers unless you're Bill Gates or anyone like that know coding well, because coding platforms, systems, and just languages itself get updated daily, and there's like hundreds and thousands of different languages, and they're used for different things. Like for example, there's language that's solely used for game development. There's language that's solely for mobile app development.
Depending on your project that you're working on, you need to learn specific languages for that thing.
Yeah, and then it's really hard to know everything, so you have to search up and study by yourself. Even like software developers right now study daily or even weekly like the updated languages and concepts. You don't have to be perfect, but you have to pursue to be perfect. I guess you have to study more.
William, what is your view?
I agree with Chris, first of all. I also think that coding, if you know one language, programming, let's say you know Java, then it's usually way easier to learn another language such as Python. Because, okay, not necessarily Python, but maybe C++. Because they're very similar, and then if you look at them, you can easily understand what's going on the other side, because you already have an understanding of what programming and coding is.
William, have you prepared some questions for Chris?
Yeah, a lot of them were actually answered, but I'll just ask a few.
Okay.
So, if we were starting computer science as like a noob, then what language should we start with?
I think it would vary with different people, but a lot of, like the majority will probably say Java. Java is such a basic language used for different platform systems and just development. For example, Java is used for system development. It's also used for mobile app development. It's also sometimes used for software, like kiosk development kind of things. And also, Java is like an object-oriented language. In an easy way speaking, I know that people will disagree with me, but computers are dumb. So you'll have to tell them what to do.
Right. Because it's like what people think of AI. They think it's something that's outside of human beings doing it, but people are programming it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then there are languages that you have to, it's called low-level coding, where you have to tell them like every single one of the tasks they have to do. And if something's just wrong, they'll give you an error. And there's a high language level coding. It doesn't matter like the level doesn't matter. It's not determined by the hardness of it. It's just like what they call it. Low level is just we have to tell them everything, and high level is where if you tell them something very broad, that even though it's wrong, the program will think that, oh, you're the master, you're probably right, we'll just execute it despite being wrong.
Right.
Which is also a pain for programmers because it's wrong, but they thought it was right. So, and Java is right in the middle of those. And also it's just easy to approach. There's a lot of videos, just websites that help you code in Java. And also AP Comp Sci it's in Java language, so it's just an easy approach to start.
Did you say AP Computer Science was helpful too?
Yeah, AP Computer Science is really helpful for that prepared for me for college, but I wouldn't say like you have to take it. If the school doesn't provide you any AP Comp Sci materials, then you don't have to. But I would definitely study for it at least because there's a lot of materials online. So,
William, how did you prepare for your AP Computer Science?
I went to websites that allowed me to like practice my coding.
Okay, so it was on your own?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Your school didn't provide it for you?
Not really.
Okay.
How are the computer science lessons different in college from high school?
Well, I do think we covered it briefly in part one, but not very specifically like that. So in high school, we took a lot of tests. We also had a lot of like single projects, like single small projects. For example, like in my sophomore year, one of my projects was like converting Fahrenheit to Celsius. Okay. It's just simple math, but like it's just an easy way to approach coding, right? Yeah, there's a lot of tests, like, because you have to remember a lot of like coding languages and not language, but coding syntax.
Do you still take many tests in university?
Well, in freshman year, I did take a lot of tests, because tests, I think, are an easy way to estimate your skill level, but tests are not the best way to estimate your level, because like people get nervous, and there's also like there's various subjects or topics you have to study, but test only shows like certain subjects. So but projects, if you have a good project, you'll have to display different area and different fields together in a single project. And also you can collaborate with others. Like in a society, you usually don't work on things by yourself. You'll have to like work with your coworker, your friends, or even someone you probably don't like to work with. And then if you do projects, you'll have to face those issues and face those collaborations, which I think is the main difference between high school CS and college computer
I think
science.
people will be surprised to hear that because many people have this idea that computer science is for these people who are so antisocial. It's not antisocial, but people who are not very social, and that you're sort of isolated behind a computer. From what you're saying, it sounds like there is a cooperative project team aspect to it as well.
Well, I would agree they're antisocial.
Would you say that you are?
I mean, I'm an introvert.
Okay. Yeah. We all are.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really hard unless you're a genius, which I don't think people are not. At least I did not see anyone so smart or outstanding in my life. But if you work on a project, for example, like let's say games, right? It's such a big industry now. So let's say you're making a game. While making the game, there's gonna be story plots. There's gonna be designs. There's gonna be programming. But within programming, there's gonna be design programming. There's gonna be like database programming. There's gonna be functional programming where it deals about like how those characters move and act. And there's also gonna be people who create the whole system of like the client, like the server basically. Since they're all collaborating together to make a single game, I do think computer science is a field where you collaborate with more people. I mean, if you go into the upper ends, like if you get smarter and if you get into a higher position, then yes, you'll probably work by yourself, but not in the beginning, so.
Okay. The biggest difference you would say is tests and collaboration. Okay. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
All right. Good. So just to sort of wrap it up, what would be your final advice for students who are hoping to go into computer science?
I'll say practice makes not really perfect, but practice helps a lot.
Of course, yes. Makes it so much better. It's like with writing as well. If you've only written a first draft, it's probably not going to be as good as your third draft, your fourth draft, where you've edited and tweaked things, and you get better at it and faster at it.
Yes.
I guess the same for coding.
Yeah, and then another thing is try not to use like auto-completion functions on like coding like IDEs.
Yeah, why not?
That's because like in the computer science AP test, you need to write it out.
Right.
If you keep just using autocomplete, you're not going to memorize it for sure.
Right. Good. What would you say?
I would say follow your passion for two reasons. The first one is because, I wouldn't say a lot, but I did see quite a lot of students who majored in computer science or came as a computer science student not because they like it or because they really want to do it, but because their parents really wanted them to do it. Because it's a high-paying job. You also probably get the fame, the money, honor, and everything.
And it just sounds impressive when people say it to their family members.
I'm a programmer, and they're like, oh, can you fix my computer or something? Right. But
although William does do that.
Yes. Yeah, so like that's the first one. And second one is when you talk about salary, you probably talk about the mean, right? The average.
Right.
So which means that there's the upper ends and there's lower ends.
Right.
If you are not good at coding, yes, of course you're not going to get paid well. But there's also different departments within computer science that get paid less, just because of the demand and the need. For example, if you pursue cybersecurity, you're probably going to get paid a lot because it's such an important field and it's required in every company. But for example, if you're doing game development, which is on a high demand, you wouldn't get paid as much as cybersecurity programmers. But it really doesn't matter because you really like the job, you really like to program those things in the product. So I think those are the two reasons why I said to pursue or follow your passion.
I guess that is it. Well, thank you everyone. I hope you've learned from this, and I want to thank William again for taking some time. I know it's awkward talking to the camera today, and thank you Chris for your perspective as a student right now in university. And I hope it was informative and that it shed some light on what computer science actually is and what to expect. Yes, thank you very much, and I'll see you again in the next video. Bye bye.